The topic that I'm going to present is about the Tiku tradition, which is quite popular among the Himalaya countries like Bhutan, Nepal, India, and all. And the reason why I have chosen this topic is because it is quite popular also, and it, if you really do not have any idea about this one, there is also a controversy, around this tradition, the Tiku tradition. So, okay, so let's start with, in a very nutshell, okay, the epithet, the term Tiku is the Tibetan translation of the Sanskrit word Nirmanakaya, which literally means the manifested body or the emanated body, or it's sometimes translated as a created body. And it refers to a person who takes form repeatedly in order to achieve or to continue his or her the spiritual work. So for this reason, the term Tiku is sometimes, often loosely translated or understood as a reincarnation, or the incarnation, or sometimes as a rebirth. So in Vajrayāna Buddhism, the concept of the Tiku is of a highly significant, because Tikus are regarded as a teacher who return across the successive life to guide the other sentient beings and preserve, promote, and spread the Buddha Dharma across the generation. And the history of the Tiku. From the time that the Buddha teachings arrived in Tibet, many highly realized individuals were recognized as a Tiku. This Tiku could be the manifestation of the Buddhas, highly accomplished adepts, or the virtuous lamas or the practitioners. Some of these early notable, the example includes the great Tibetan king called the Tuzung Desen, who was said to be the manifestation or the Tiku of the Manjushri, the Buddha of the wisdom, and the Khando Visheswagil, the consort of the Guru Rinpoche, who was recognized as the manifestation or the Tiku of the Tara, the female Buddha. So this early recognition set the foundation for the Tiku tradition, emphasizing both spiritual attainment and the continuity of the teachings and the lineage across the generation. But all these manifestations were not formally recognized and enthroned as a Tiku to the public, like we have a tradition in our country, Bhutan. The first official recognized Tiku. So the first Tiku to be recognized, the officially recognized or formally recognized and enthroned as a Tiku was the second Karmapa Pakshi, who lived around 12th centuries. He was identified as a reincarnation of the first Karmapa, Tuksum Khyamba, through the auspicious the visions and the signs, the spiritual signs experienced by the Pom Traba Rinpoche. And Karmapa Pakshi became renowned for his miraculous abilities and spiritual accomplishment. His recognition established the unbroken lineage of the Karmapas, which still continues to the present day, with the 17th Karmapa preserving the Karmakaju tradition across the generation. So basically, okay, and the fourth topic that I'm going to talk about is about the categories of the Tikus. So basically, Tikus are recognized in different categories according to their spiritual attainment and the qualities. And the first kind of the Tiku that I'm going to talk about is the Tikus of the Buddhas, the reincarnation of the Buddhas, or the manifestation of the Buddhas. So these are the direct manifestation of the Buddhahood. They can appear in countless forms, such as the animal, human, even in the form of the four elements, the peaceful deities or the worthful deities, depending on the need of the sentient beings. And their purpose is always to benefit the sentient beings. But that is not because of their own karmic conditions, but due to the enlightened compassion, due to their enlightened compassion and the aspirations. And they embody the three Buddha bodies, the ultimate bodies, the enjoyment bodies, and the manifested bodies. And the second category, the second type of the Trülku that I'm going to talk about is the Trülku of the adepts. And they are the reincarnation or the manifestation of the highly accomplished bodhisattvas who have attained the advanced level of spiritual realization. And these adepts can manifest the multiple Trülkus simultaneously to serve the sentient beings. But unlike the Buddha's Trülku, their knowledge, their wisdoms and their qualities, especially the powers, are limited. Their action, even if unusual, always serve the dual purpose of attending or achieving enlightenment for oneself and for all the sentient beings. And the third kind of the Trülku of the virtuous Lama. So this is the kind of the Trülku, the category of the Trülku that we see normally in our days. Especially, this kind of Trülku is quite popular in, this category of Trülkus are quite popular in Bhutan, Nepal, India, Tibet, and other Himalayan regions. So they are the rebirths of the moral and the learned teachers who have accumulated the merits through the virtuous deeds. And they may not possess the miraculous powers, but through the proper guidance and the trainings, they serve the sentient beings. They can serve the sentient beings, and they can continue their spiritual path, and ultimately they can attain the Buddhahood. So in Vajrayāna Buddhism, or in the Vajrayāna tradition, all the Trülkus are viewed with the respect and the reverence, focusing on their role as a teacher and the source of blessing, rather than trying to classify or try to categorize them precisely. And recognition and training. So, okay, so when I talk about the recognition, I'm trying to focus more on the third category of the Trülku that we used to see, that are quite popular nowadays. The Trülku of the virtuous Lama or the practitioners. So in the countries like the Bhutan, where the Vajrayāna practice is the main tradition, people generally consider the Trülku to be more authentic if they have been recognized by the highly qualified, well Lama and truly respected Lamas, and if they have been enthroned in their original seat by the chief disciple of the previous incarnation, or by the legitimate the authorities of the previous institutions. And also for many peoples, it is also highly appreciated if Trülkus they exhibit or show some kind of the auspicious miraculous sign at birth, such as recollecting their past memories, the past lives, or especially manifesting any spiritual qualities or qualities of their previous incarnation as a proof of being the true Trülku or the reincarnation. So when it comes to the recognition, there are several ways, the Trülku can be recognized. In most cases, Trülku is recognized by a highly realized Lama before the tender age of 4 or 5, through the auspicious sign, prophetic visions, or the enlightened wisdoms. One way is through the Lama who foretell their next birth. Before passing away, some Lamas clearly state or leave letters describing the geographical features and the landscape of the place they will take rebirth. Sometimes even naming their future, the birthplace and the parents. Others may leave the symbolic signs or the poetic hints, which require careful interpretations. So the most common method that we used to see in our country is by identifying by their own belongings, such as the Vajra and the bells of the previous incarnation, or identifying their student or the place they reside in their previous life. The purpose and impact of the Trülku. So Trülku have always played an important role in the community, and community they are rebirth. They are seen as a great source of respect, learning, and a blessing. And beyond the spiritual guidance, they have made a major contribution to the academia and the social life of the communities. And through their teachings and writings and the institution they established, Trülku has deeply shaped the communities and the way the people live. The challenges of the judgment. So it is impossible for the ordinary people like me or to truly judge which Trülku is the genuine or which is not. So to us, all the Trülkus, they appear similar, kind, sincere people, practicing the Dharma and dedicating their life to life serving others. But the depth of the wisdom is something that the ordinary mind cannot see or measure. Therefore, unless one is omniscient or unless one is the omniscient or at least have a clairvoyance, no one can really know who someone is or why they act in a certain way. For example, the enlightened beings such as the Buddha, Bodhisattvas, and the great sages may appear in either peaceful or the worldful form. Yet their activities are always motivated by the compassion and the wish to help others. On the other hand, the false Trülku, if they show the impressive skills or the performance, may be motivated by the material, the gain or the personal satisfaction. So this is why the Buddha himself said that apart from myself and those like me, no one can judge another person. So we cannot decide whether someone is true Trülku or not. And the best approach that we can, the best approach for us to see all the Trülku with the respect as a source of learning and blessing. By holding this pure perception and the proper attitude, we not only benefit ourselves but also fulfill the very purpose of the Trülku tradition. And the fallen Trülkus. Many Trülku, even they are genuine, can still fall from the path of the Dharma if they do not stay disciplined or dedicated to the spiritual training. This is because their realization may not be strong or irreversible, and they still carry the negative karmic influences within the mind. So if a young Trülku lack proper guidance, they can easily be affected by the negative the influences, unhealthy environment, or the emotional distraction. This is why having caring teacher, attentive guardians, supportive friends, and a positive environment is very important. And unfortunately, sometimes the very people or the institution meant to protect them, such as the friend or the monasteries, can actually harm the growth and pull them away from their spiritual path. This shows how vulnerable the young Trülkus can be without the right supporting and the training. The false Trülku. So you know that in this 21st century, we can also see a false Buddha, the false Trülku. The Trülku is loosely translated into the Chinese as in Chinese language as the living Buddha. So in today's world, it is common to find the people claim to be Trülku, even of the highest Lama. So, but if we examine carefully, many of them have not been recognized or enthroned in the traditional way, nor have been undergone the serious training that the genuine Trülku must receive. What is even more concerning is that they often lack the true qualities of the Trülkus, the qualities like the inner peace, the compassion for all the sentient beings, and the realization of the wisdoms. So sometimes even the lamas who recognize the Trülku may not have the extraordinary ability required for such a task. So they may rely only on the dreams or the simple signs, and while they may be sincere, they could end up deceiving themselves and others. So, and at times, the process of recognizing the Trülku is sometimes influenced by the bureaucrats, relatives, or other people with the selfish motive or the intention who manipulate the recognition for their own gain. Even supposed miracle, the surrounding young children may sometimes be caused by the negative force to fool the people. So this is why the followers of the deceased Lama usually seek the guidance of not just one, but several highly respected Lama before confirming a recognition. The biggest problem, however, is not with the Tiku system itself, but with the greed for the wealth, power, and the social status among the parents, the relatives, or even within the institutions. So in some cases, even the young Tiku themselves fall into the trap. Such a false Tiku or the teachers may look impressive, but in the long run, they harm the Dharma and weaken the 1,000 years old Tiku tradition. This danger was already foreseen by Guru Padmasambhava in the 19th century and later by the Patu Rinpoche, who warned of so-called the Dharma teacher with no real practice, who instead ruined the foundation of the Dharma. Their teaching may sound spiritual, but their actions are driven by the desire and the self-esteem. And the Patu Rinpoche said, these days there are many so-called Dharma holders who claim to perform the Dharma activities, but they have no experience of what Dharma is. They are ruining the foundation of the precious Dharma. It is serious. Therefore, while Tiku tradition remains precious, we must be careful and discerning that, so that the true essence of the Dharma is preserved. Thank you so much.